we've got Jeff back again for another spin. We're just sitting here in a circle in our temporary recording space, and so I figured this would be the perfect atmosphere to go ahead and do part 2 of what I call Vegas Campfire. So we're just gonna sit around and we're gonna tell more Vegas stories. So Jeff's over here.
Well, it's good that you paid my appearance fee.
and Chelsea's over here. And
hey.
And we have this strategy meeting every time we go to hit record. We're gonna do a podcast. The first thing Chelsea has to do is sit down in the chair, and she looks up and says, "All right, what are we talking about?"
Well, it's good to know what you're talking about, when you're going to talk about it.
When the last time we just said, "Oh, we're going to tell Jeff's airplane story," and it evolved into 3 or 4 different awesome stories. So
look, podcasting makes me nervous. Okay, I have to know what I'm supposed to say. Ish.
By the way, if you're checking us out, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications every time we drop a video or new podcast or some kind of live element that we're going to be doing. I believe we have talked everybody into doing live from Las Vegas during our trip, where we'll go live on YouTube for about 15 or 20 minutes out of our Vegas vacation each day to talk about what's happening in the city, what successes or failures we had during the day.
Yeah, I think that will be fun, just to kick off our vlog.
Daily report on the people that Chelsea has almost mauled in the streets.
Right. Which we could allude into this first part. We'll call people that Chelsea has threatened in Las Vegas. This will be the first segment of the show, and I'm going to kick it off because pre-Jeff, we went on our honeymoon there, and we went over to the Luxor, the big pyramid, little shining light out of it.
One of our favorite hotels now.
It actually has become one of our favorite hotels, shockingly enough. But at that time, we were going because you wanted to check out the Titanic exhibit, and it's there at the Luxor, Las Vegas.
Yeah, because I do love the story of the Titanic. I mean, not that thousands of people died. I don't love that part, but I love the just how crazy that whole story is, and the exhibit and just everything about it. So definitely that was like a must do on our honeymoon. I was like, we have to get there.
Spoiler alert: the ship sinks.
Well, I'm just trying to wrap my mind around that. It's like saying, hey, on our honeymoon, let's go to the Holocaust Museum.
Wow.
But I guess to each their own.
So getting back to the Vegas element, we walked down, or no, we trammed down to the Luxor that day. They have a tram that goes from Mandalay to Excalibur, and then you have to jump on a different tram that goes from Excalibur to the Luxor. I don't understand why they just didn't put one track with 2 trains, but it doesn't make sense. It's Las Vegas though, so not much does.
And there's no complaining. You're in Vegas, right?
Yeah,
so you're like, we'll ride the tram.
Why
we
not?
have nothing else to do.
And yet I have heard him complain on a number of occasions about that tram.
I've heard you complain about that tram too, but I'll tell that story later. We're on people that Chelsea has threatened first. We're going to go ahead and cover that.
If we don't get back to the story, she might threaten us.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So we go and we do the Titanic exhibit, and we're walking into the Luxor to go to the Titanic exhibit, and that's the 4th or 5th occasion where we've encountered the timeshare people.
Just real quick, because I'm curious. When y'all were in the Titanic exhibit on your honeymoon, at any point did she grab a hold of your hand and say, "I'll never let go"?
That would have been a bald-faced lie if she had. So.
Oh, wow! Oh my gosh.
Okay.
I wouldn't even hold my own.
Dang.
I wouldn't even hold my own self up, if you know what I mean. But getting back to it though, timeshare people, because this is nitpicky about Las Vegas. So by this time we figured out their game, because we actually encountered a couple from Canada when we were there. We were waiting outside the formerly known as the Terry Fader Theater at the Mirage, and this Canadian couple comes up to us and they told us about how they got the free tickets because they went to a timeshare presentation, but that it was like a 6-hour presentation.
Yeah. They were like, if you ever get the chance to do that, don't.
Don't.
Say that is not worth it because I
No.
know Terry Fader's show felt
And
like
then-
it lasted 6 hours, but I was not going to sit through a 6-hour presentation.
No,
for
we're
that.
talking about,
they
you
don't-
pay for the show.
They
It's
don't let
easier.
you leave.
They don't let you leave.
They told them up front, like they were not in the market to buy a timeshare. They didn't have the finances to buy a timeshare, and the guy told them, "Well, you have to sit here. You can't go."
Like, we can't give you the tickets if you leave now.
So,
I'd be
like, they literally had to sit there the whole time.
Keep those damn tickets.
Right. Right.
So at this point, we figured out the best course of action is to ignore these people, and so we do. And we're just trying to be patient, and we go to the Titanic exhibit. We're going through it. We come back out of it, and I think because we had been approached by a number of people at this point for randomness or timeshare or whatnot, I could just tell that the next person that maybe popped out and tried to bring us in or sell us something was probably not going to elicit a great response.
Okay, but hold on. So, first of all, this was what day? We were there for 7 days on our honeymoon. I
This was
believe,
probably like
right?
day 6.
And this was like, day 5, day 6. I mean, we went tired because we were coming off the wedding and everything. And by the time we were in Vegas that many days, I was really tired. And the other thing is that Jonathan loves to wear sports memorabilia. So, he had a Texans hat or, an Astro shirt. And I mean, every time we would pass the timeshare people, they were like, "Hey, Texas, hey, come on over." Like, it was just so frustrating after a while.
Well, here's how you throw them off on that. You wear all that stuff. They say, "Hey, Texas." You'd be like, "Hey, I'm from Sheboygan."
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wisconsin, baby.
But the thing is that then they'll be like, "Oh yeah," and they'll pull something else out. Like, the best thing you can do is just not answer them.
Now I'm going to continue here. So we're walking upstairs after we left the Titanic exhibit at the Luxor, and there was this lady that pops out.
She just
She just pops out of nowhere.
She
It's
did.
just like,
She just like jumped in my face.
it's like, "Hey, want to try this finger massage?" And at this point, sensory overload for Chelsea and exhaustion kicked in. And she fires back with the greatest response ever. She said, "You want to try this punch in the face?"
Okay, well, first of all, don't jump in my face, okay? Like, thank you. You just jumped in my
Okay,
face.
so first of all, I gotta ask, what in the hell is a finger massage?
I don't know. It was like this sticky pad thing that she had, and she was trying. She was literally about to grab my hand.
Look, the
and
fact
put it
that
on
you
my
even
finger.
asked, what is a finger massage, tells you that the fad did not catch on.
Yeah, they're not there anymore, too, by the way, because the last time we stayed, they were up there where the Titanic exhibit and all. They were like, they had little carts, like in
Right.
the middle, and they're not there anymore.
Yeah, they're not there anymore. So it didn't
thank
catch on.
goodness,
So
but-
whatever it wasn't phenomenal.
Well, maybe their people started getting beaten down for jumping out in front of people like that.
Right? I mean, okay, I don't know what it is about me that makes me look so approachable, but it never fails, I think we were this was just a couple trips ago, and that the guy from Star Wars, the Chewbacca.
Oh, that was like trip 3 when we were coming around the side of Bally's.
Yeah, just out of nowhere, and he makes that Chewbacca sound right in my face. It just scared me to death.
Yeah, exact. Chewbacca almost got whooped that night in Las Vegas, and it wouldn't have been me.
And do you remember the Spider-Man guy? Remember the
Yes.
Spider-Man guy just comes like right up to my face. I mean, like, I don't understand why.
Now, if you're listening to this for the
was
first
I
time,
there? For the
No, I don't
Spider-Man
think you
guy?
were
I don't
there for
think
the
you were.
Spider-Man.
If you're listening to us for the first time or listening to any podcast about Las Vegas for the first time, you got to understand there are people that dress up in costume called street performers. They work for tips. Their whole job in life is to harass you on the strip to pay them to take a picture with.
yeah, they're trying to get your attention, but like,
Yeah,
why
and
they
I-
want to come in my face,
But
I don't
we-
know.
we need to bring that. We need to
I
come
was
back
the
to-
victim of that. When
Well,
I
we got to come back to that story Because Jeff's got a
Wait,
good.
I don't
streak.
remember this
Well,
story.
it's not really a story. It's more of a warning. You
Yeah,
know,
it's-
the
it is
two
more of a
girls,
warning.
the
Oh,
showgirls.
the showgirls.
The showgirls.
Okay, yeah.
We'll come back to that one because I can't wait to have Jeff tell that. But what I want Jeff to tell is the story because Jeff was with us when you threatened an individual in Las Vegas. And Jeff has a funny way of telling these stories. So I'm going to defer to him on this one.
Actually, I'm a little fuzzy on the events that led up to it. All I remember
Okay.
is hearing Chelsea screaming back there.
No, okay, I'll tell the story.
Okay.
Yes,
So
okay.
it was like 9:30. Okay, when we get up in Vegas, it's 2 hours behind what we would normally be here at home. So we got up at like 9:30. Well, at home that would be 11:30. So I was very hungry. And so we go down and Jeff's already down there. You know, I think you're having a Bloody Mary
Bloody
at the
Mary,
bar.
the breakfast of champions.
And we're in the hotel and everything, and we decide we're going to go over to Denny's, which is just across the street from the Mirage, and we're going to get breakfast. And we were kind of think out, what do we want to do this morning, or, you know, where's our day going to take us. And I was just like frustrated with y'all, and I was like, we can figure that out once we have a table and we're eating. Like, let's just go eat. And so we start walking over there. Well, we're walking down in front of a few shops just before you get to Denny's. I don't even know what they are. Because I think this lady wasn't actually a timeshare lady. She worked at one of the shops. I
Yeah,
think.
she's like one of the
Makeup sales.
cosmology, whatever they're
Cosmetology.
I don't even really remember even what she looked like, to be honest.
She was
But
pretty
to my
short from what I
point
remember.
about ignoring them, I have gotten to where I just ignore these people that tend to just approach me for no reason. Well, she kept following me. And so I turned around and I kind of loudly said no. And she was like, you don't have to be so rude. And I turned around and I was like, then maybe you should leave people alone when she was following me at this point. Like, I had taken 10 to 15 paces forward away from her and she's following me.
That's a fact. In fact, Jeff and I were about 10 paces ahead of you.
Yeah, because y'all always walk so much faster. So that's probably why people target me, because I'm a girl back here all by myself. But
It's all your fault,
anyway-
Jeff.
slow
She-
moving at the back of the herd.
Right? Hey, she
Yeah.
just blamed it on you. I just want you to note that for the record.
Did not.
Actually, I was moving a little fast because I felt the disturbance in the force,
Wow.
and I didn't want to be involved in the police scene, if you know what I mean.
Well, so she's following me, and so she tells me I don't need to be so rude. So I turned around and told her, well, maybe you need to leave people alone that don't want to be bothered and learn how to do your job. And she, at that point, told me, you need to eat, mija. Well, you don't tell a fat girl that she needs to eat. Okay, maybe I did need to eat. I was starving. I was very hungry. And yes, I was getting hangry. But don't tell me. And I think, frankly, I am not your mija. Okay? Mm-mm.
And it
So
was about that time that John luckily.
all I heard was you need to eat mija, and I didn't see my wife anymore. And I turned around, and she's making headway back over to this little side makeup shop where Mija was at, and she was about to do something. I don't know what, and I just kind of grabbed her
Now, all I remember
and turned
is
her
this,
around,
like,
and I was like, "Let's
big
go."
arm coming around and getting me and turning me around. Like, babe, let it go. But yeah, that just made me so mad. Like, still makes me mad when I think about it. Like, if I'm ignoring you and I'm walking away from you and I obviously don't want whatever it is you're selling, I am on vacation. I am in Las Vegas. Leave me alone. No, do not follow me. You jump in my face, you start following me, and you start pestering me, and then you get mad at me when I tell you to leave people who want to be left alone. Yeah,
Well,
you're going to get it.
Yeah, well, that's just one type of person you have to deal with. The type that approach you when you don't want to be approached. But then what do you do when they play upon your weaknesses? Like when you're approached by two fairly good-looking showgirls and barely no costume at all. hey, do you want to take a picture? I'm like, yeah. Oh, okay, so let's take the picture. Yeah.
No, and
great.
I'm like, Jeff, you don't understand. Don't do this. It's not worth it. And he's like, oh no,
It's just a picture.
You're
It's
like,
just
here-
a picture
no,
with a
he's
couple
like-
of showgirls. And I'm like, no, you don't understand.
He's
It's
like,
not
here, Chelsea,
worth
take the
it.
picture.
Okay, well, I understand the concept of tipping, but after we're done taking the picture, and then she says, oh, well, we usually take $20 each. And I was like, well, here, you're going to get $5 for the two of you.
$2.50
and then I just walk away like I don't give a damn, and I didn't. But just be careful. It is a cautionary tale of warning.
Yes.
To be careful what you get mixed up with.
We do
and
still
don't-
have that
don't let
picture, but we
yeah.
won't be putting it up on, for the podcast.
I've got
to
it on
see.
my phone too, but
On that
just
same
be careful
vein,
and not let your eyeballs do the
since-
dance for you.
Since Campfire is kind of turning into a cautionary tale type story, I do want to pose a cautionary tale to most single men who will be in Vegas for the first time.
Yeah, those cards they hand out with the women on them, that ain't what's going to show up at your door, so don't call the number.
Yes, don't call that
Jeff
number.
doesn't know this by experience. It's only what he's been told.
I can see where they're coming from.
No,
on that,
so we
though.
were on the bus taking the Hoover Dam tour, right? And we're coming back out on the strip, and he's dropping people off. And the tour guide's kind of like talking as we're sitting at lights and traffic and stuff. And he just casually brings up like, hey, you know those sign trucks that drive up and down the strip that says Hot Babes Direct to You? You can call that number if you want, but I can tell you this. What's on the truck ain't showing up at your hotel.
Well, and he also was like, they're not in the back of the truck. Like, a lot of people thought that they were in the sign truck. So he was like, they're not in the back of the truck. They're not driving around with girls in the back of the truck.
What is it, like an ice cream truck driving around with girls? do, 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 do.
Oh my god.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what some people have some crazy misconceptions.
Walk up to that. They like to walk up to that truck. It's like, yeah, I'll have the redhead bomb pop.
Wow.
Oh,
I mean, what do people think goes on in Las Vegas? For God's sake.
Oh yeah, that was good. That one was good. Wow.
I mean, seriously, I'd love to know who posed that question.
I don't know, but some idiot must have.
Somebody asked because he told.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the many hidden gems of that Hoover Dam tour with the damn tour guide.
Well, he also told us about Casino Royale, which is a smaller casino, kind of actually in the same area where Denny's is.
Yeah, it's on the Las Vegas Strip, but
Across the street from the Mirage.
yeah,
And it
next to Harrah's.
It
And-
does
and
have
Madame
a
Tussauds.
hotel, with it. There's a hotel behind it, but
A
it's
Best
like a
Western.
Best
Best
Western.
Western.
A
Yeah.
Best Western.
It's not a like huge casino hotel resort
No,
type
actually,
thing.
it's one of the smaller casino. I think it's probably the smallest casino on the Strip, certainly that I've been in.
Yeah, I would say on strip wise, it is the smallest.
You might find some smaller ones like in Las Vegas somewhere, but not on the Strip. It's small. It's cozy. It's also the home to John's great arch enemy in Las Vegas, the Big
Yes,
Wheel.
The Big Wheel. We've got a picture. Well, you're watching the video. We will plaster a picture of. I think it's in our intro too. I think we put it in our intro vid.
Yeah.
John could have established and funded a small scholarship with the money that he's blown on the Big Wheel.
Well, let me just be real. We are not as experienced gamblers as we are now then. I played 0 table games on that honeymoon trip and was just trying out different slot machines.
But we won on the Big Wheel
But
on
we
our
did.
honeymoon.
We won on the Big Wheel. It's so if you put your money in and you hit the button, and if you spell out wheel in the bars on the reels, you get to play the bonus wheel, and you spin it, and you get whatever denomination it lands on.
Which is, ironically enough, a big wheel.
Big
that
giant
spins.
wheel, because there's like 8 stations.
It's like a Wheel of Fortune, but it's like put together because like each machine is Wolf Run. So
Yes.
if you're familiar with playing casino or slot machines, there we go. If you're familiar with them, there's Wolf Run is a very popular, been around for a long time.
Forever and a day.
And so each machine, there's 8 machines around circling this big wheel, and you can play the Wolf Run game. But then if you spell out wheel, it goes to a Wheel of Fortune, and it's a teaser too, because it's like it makes a noise like don't, like that whenever a letter comes up. So if you get 4 out of the 5 letters that spell will, then you hear like don't, but then you don't hear anything else. So you want to keep and it does that a lot. It does that a lot. It spells out wheel a lot, or it attempts to spell out wheel a lot. So you think you're about to win, and then
you don't.
Nothing. Yeah.
And we're pumping $20 bills in this machine for to sit there for an hour and a half and to be entertained
And try to spin the big wheel.
And we spun the big wheel a couple of times. I don't think we didn't hit any big denominations, but that was enough to like hook us to it. So like the second trip, we flew in on a Saturday. We're staying at Harrah's, which we'll talk about one of these days. That wretched, horrible situation.
Yeah.
And I was like, we got to go play the big wheel. So it's like the first night there, we have to walk, and we're not that far. We're staying right close to it. So we walk over to the Casino Royale. We dropped like $120 in less than an hour, and nothing.
Not even less than that. It was
maybe
like 15 minutes.
Like it was at least 30, because it was $120. But
because what did we win on our honeymoon? It was like it wasn't to us it was a lot. Then.
Yeah,
It was
I think
maybe
it was like 50
or something.
Like $50 one time,
And so we thought that was like big winning. So we were like going to make this a tradition that every time we went, we had to play the big wheel. Well, when Jeff first started going to Vegas with us, we were still trying this tradition, and every single time we weren't winning on it anymore. And so we've
and I think Jeff looks at me and he's like, "Well, this tradition blows."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you might want to come up with a new tradition.
Yeah. So we've kind of ditched the whole big wheel thing, but it does have a soft
To which
spot
I
in our
replied to
in our
Jeff,
heart.
"Hey, well, our new tradition could be you getting drunk on the plane every time we go."
That's a painful tradition.
Yeah,
though.
no, not my fave.
Yeah, the big wheel we don't play. I don't play it anymore. We walk by it many times, but I don't play it.
You flipped it off from the street a couple of times.
It will do that. It will make you do things like that. It's
yeah.
just. But the Casino Royale, it is a nice, like Jeff said, it's one of the smaller casinos, nice, comfortable, kind of
It's a cozy place.
Unless you run afoul of the blackjack dealer. Then in which case, you are actually putting your money down for entertainment and being threatened.
Talking about threatening people.
I'll let Jeff talk about Coco.
John got threatened by a 4'2" tall elderly Asian lady with the name Coco.
Because
who was our blackjack dealer, because John didn't know not to put both hands on the table when you're playing blackjack.
And she told him like several times,
Yeah.
but John just takes a while to we went. Okay, here's a
she
perfect
says
example,
it, and you put your hand down, and then like 2 minutes later you forget, and the hand's back.
But here's a perfect example. We went to Sports Bet this last trip that John and I took, and he was making a bet for a coworker. And he goes up there and he says, okay, he wants. And the guy corrects Jonathan and says, you want. And Jonathan's like, ha, 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 yeah, he wants. And the guy's like, you want. And
Yeah.
I'm like, John.
Well, hold on. In my defense, the dude's not. He's correcting the language, the pronoun, if you will, but he's not telling me why. And so until we go through this routine about 5 times, and he's like, I can't legally take a bet from you for somebody else. It is your bet. And I was like, oh, okay, I got you.
Right,
now.
but I finally said, John, you can't say that. And then that's when he finally explained it. But yeah, John just was like not catching on. I was like, this is your bet. Stop saying that.
Now, hold on. Now, since she brought up that story, now I'm going to tell another Chelsea story. I was making that bet.
Coco will have to hold.
Yeah, obviously, long story short, Coco got really upset, and I learned my lesson, and we played $1 blackjack for like another 30 minutes and left. And we never went back when Coco was dealing.
Because John was scared of her.
4'2" Asian ladies
She
are
did
quite
have
threatening.
a pretty threatening
She
look.
could take me out at the knees.
Yeah, she had that eye.
So I know when to say when. But about going back to the sports bet, we were staying at the Aria. We made all of our sports bets at the Aria Sportsbook. And we put everything in our pocket. We go and do some things, and we come back. And I have this thing where I take everything out of my pocket when we get back to the hotel room, and I put it on the table next to the television or wherever the side table is.
And I have this thing where I have to clean up the room.
And so she
because
thinks they're like all
I can't
receipts.
stand
because
papers being
she thinks that
everywhere.
they're- Hold on.
Chelsea
hold on.
doesn't know what room service is.
She thinks they are all receipts that we can just throw away because I've done my mathematical equation, figured it out. Or
I
not.
even asked, though. I said, is all of this trash? And you're like, yeah, I think so. Which usually when John says I think, that just
So
means
she
yes,
picks
do whatever
everything
you
up off
want.
of there and throws it in the garbage. The next day, this bet that I made for my coworker was a parlay. And if you don't know what a parlay is, it's a random series of bets where all of them have to hit in order for you to win. And so he did this $20 parlay on two college games and 2 pro games. Well, it's Saturday. College football is in full swing, and his parlay's looking good. And we go back to the hotel room, and I was like, "Honey, where's the slip, the ticket for the parlay?"
We had taken a picture of it.
We had taken a
because
picture
you
of
sent
it.
it
Yes.
to him after you did
Yes,
the
because
bet.
I sent him a text message, and I said, "Where's the ticket?" I said, "This parlay has got a shot. I mean, all the college games are panning out." And we were looking all over the hotel room, and she's like, "Well, where did you put it?" And I was like, "I put it on the table where I put everything else next to my wallet last night." She's
to
like,
which I followed with it, oh no.
"Oh no."
And room service had already come and taken the trash out.
So that ticket was long
So
gone.
then Jonathan says, well, it probably won't pan out anyway. It's far-fetched. And I'm like, okay, right. But what if it does? Then what?
Which was a valid question.
Because it could.
It could.
And I'm like,
Then I
no.
thought of it. I was like, "Oh wait, I took a picture of it. Maybe, just maybe, we can get it reprinted down at the sports book." So we take the walk of shame downstairs.
That's one of the Vegas walks of shame right there.
to the sports book, and I show them the picture. I explain what happened. Left Chelsea out of the equation, and I said, "That dadgum room service person just threw my parlay away." And right now I'm hitting on 2 out of the 4.
Room service just took the blow. But you know what? That's what good husbands do right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, they
That's
blame
what good
they
husbands
blame their
do.
wife's screw up on the room service.
Long story short, they
Exactly.
got the manager of the sportsbook over there, and he's like, "Well, you know what? We could always look it up in the system and tie it to the camera at the time that it says it was purchased,
surveillance
and
camera.
validate your purchase. But wait to see if the parlay actually hits. Come back and we'll do all.
Yeah,
of
that was his nice way of saying your chances are slim, bro. Like you're probably not going to win
And
this.
on Sunday when the NFL game started, the parlay got blown up. It turned out that it wouldn't have mattered, but you can't ever. You're talking about that would have paid out like $300 or $400.
Yeah, it was
If
nice
it
to
hit.
know. So, just, public service announcement for anyone out there who's afraid they might lose their ticket. Always take a picture of it. And it is nice to know that they would look that up for you, and take a little extra effort to make sure that if you did
Or-
win, you got your money.
Just don't throw anything away in the hotel room until you're getting ready
Okay.
to check out.
Fair, but I like to clean up. I just don't like you get a lot of stuff in Vegas. Like they give you all this stuff when you check in. You get the paper and you get the map of the resort, and then in the hotel itself, in the room, there's magazines and stuff, and then of course you get all your receipts from your day out and whatnot. And it just after a while, it's piling up, and I just like to know what's what and what's trash and.
See, I don't have that problem. When I put that stuff on there, it just becomes part of the background. It's like I don't even notice it anymore.
Oh, I can't handle it. I have to pick it up.
I think that's the thing between men and women It just becomes background. It's there, you know, and then it's like, oh, I'm about to get on the plane. I better throw all these receipts away. I don't really need to hold on to them.
Not to mention that, like, if you pick up your, like, you know, vanity area and stuff like that, they can clean it better when they come in to clean. But if you just leave that stuff laying everywhere, like, they can't really wipe the counter down. They have to move all that. And then they have to touch it.
Well, it looks like my counters are going to be a little dusty for the duration.
Sounds like it. And
I'll
that's
come
a good
in
place.
your room and pick up your stuff, Jeff. You're welcome.
Yeah, you come into my room, make sure I ain't there.
So
busting
we'll end
in,
on the note that
boogity.
Jeff is a slob in Las Vegas. Much to, you know.
No, it's a controlled chaos.
It's
very
controlled
controlled.
chaos. Well, that's a good place to cut this edition of the Fabulous TexVegas podcast off. Next episode, we're going to do one of our first of many. We're going to give a resort review, and we're going to talk about the Mirage, and Jeff's going to join us for that one. And just to give you a preview, we're going to talk about the resort, and we're going to critique it in five different areas. First thing, we're going to talk about the hotel and the room. We're going to talk about the gaming floor, entertainment, if it's available and we have attended it. Actual, like, just food, eating, buffet. We're going to talk about that. And then the fifth is a miscellaneous category of what else about this place do you like or dislike. And so we're going to break down the Mirage on the next edition of the Fabulous TexVegas podcast. So for Jeff and Chelsea, I'm John. Remember, smash that like button. Hit the bell for notifications.
Hey, and feel free to share. Like,
share it with your friends,
this out.
family. You know, just, you know, if you have people that like Las Vegas, share it with them. Share it with anybody. We just want to drive up the traffic. This project's going well so far, so we appreciate you listening and would like you to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and keep pushing the Fabulous TexVegas podcast. We're out of time for this edition. We will do part 3 of Campfire stories in a future episode because there are just so many funny stories. We haven't even scratched the surface, and I'm talking about Fremont Street. So be looking for that in the coming weeks. But next time we're talking